Welcome back, friends and family, to the Alpha Mama episode. What is it? Success. What do we do on this podcast? We talk about self-discipline, and I'm really excited to have you guys all on board for this episode. Today, we are talking about Robin Sharma's The Monk That Sold His Ferrari. Reason being is back in, I feel like saying 2017, I had recently broken up with sort of a boyfriend, and I went up to northern New South Wales to spend Christmas with my auntie and her family. I was feeling like a little bit at a loose end. I'd sort of cancelled a trip with the partner, and I had my son, and I read this book while I was up there, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and it completely transformed my life. After I read that book, I was awakening at 4 a.m. every day, I kid you not. Pretty sure I stopped drinking alcohol altogether. I was swimming every morning. I got really on my game. I was just all over my shit, basically. And so in terms of doing this new podcast series with the focus in 2024 being on cultivating self-discipline and understanding what the tools and strategies are that we need to cultivate self-discipline in our lives so that we can be happy and have successful lives where we're achieving the things that we really truly care about, and we're having true purpose and we're living meaningful and purposeful lives. I thought I would take this opportunity to go back to a book that just completely transformed my life. I highly recommend this book to anyone. One word of caution with Robin Sharma is that all of his books are written as fables. So basically he tells you a story, and then in the story he shares the secrets of the tale, such as leadership, or they're all performance self-help kind of books, but they're focused on basically making you more efficient, more productive in your life, and ultimately living your best life. And why do we want to do that? Why do we want to live our best life? I mean, the truth of the matter is we are all here for a very, very limited time on earth. I think he says in one of his books that it's something like 29,000 days or 960 months is the average lifespan, which amounts to about 81 years. So when you start breaking it down into months and days, it starts somehow feeling a lot more limited. So with The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, I guess one of the key parts of the story is in relation to this fable that he talks about in the book. So I'll go through the elements of the fable, and then we'll discuss basically some other sort of tips and strategies he proposes in his book in terms of living your best life and being more efficient. So he talks about this story, and in the story he talks about, I'm just going to go through the elements of the story. So he talks about how there's this extraordinary garden, and in the garden you see a lighthouse, and there's a rose garden, and then you come across a stopwatch, and then you see like this giant sumo wrestler, and then there are diamonds somewhere, and then there's a winding path. So, you know, if you really want to really embody or understand the fable, then go read the book. But I'm just going to take you through the symbology or the symbolism. I like saying the word symbology. I don't know if it's an actual word, but the symbolism contained in the fable that he expels. And this is one of the core aspects of the monk who sold his Ferrari. So in terms of the extraordinary garden, Robin Sharma talks about how it's a symbol of your mind, and if you care for the garden, it will be rich. To live your life to the fullest, you must stand guard at the gate of your garden, and you must weed the garden. Foremost, you have to adopt a positive attitude to how you look at life. So the way you think stems from habit, pure and simple, and all success starts in your mind. The outer world that you experience reflects your inner world. So by controlling the way that you think, you begin to shape your destiny. And this is such a powerful message. There are no mistakes in life, only lessons, and even pain can be the greatest lesson. How can you know the summit of a mountain unless you've experienced the valley? And I love this because it's a very Buddhist philosophy. So in Buddhism, they'd always talk about weeding the garden. So being a good gardener and weeding the negative thoughts out of your mind, making sure that when we're all like a sponge, so whatever you put into your mind, just like whatever you put into your body, is reflected in the life that you lead. And so being careful to cultivate what you allow into your mind and what you allow your thoughts to dwell on is a really important aspect of being a successful gardener in terms of living your best life. Blueprinting. Live from the blueprint of your imagination. Create the kind of magical vision, the magical life you want. Expect the best. Dream of your ideal life. Believe you can do whatever you want to be, and start thinking of your dreams and celebrate all its wonders. When you are inspired by some great project or some great expectation, you will expand. You must not get hung up on the outcome. Instead, enjoy the process of personal growth. I love that. And it's something actually, so I went through this obsessive phase with Jordan Peterson. Oh gosh, it's getting on to like about 8 years ago now. And one of the things that Jordan Peterson talks about a lot is how when you want to achieve something in life, so what a lot of people do in life and what a lot of mediocrity does to us in life is we don't even try. We just give up before we even try, and we go, oh, I could never do that. Oh, I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to live in this dead-end life. I'm going to be safe, and I'm not going to ask any questions because it's all too hard, and I'm just going to be a victim, and I'm going to complain about everything, right? So that sums up so many of us, and I've been in those places in my life myself. And Jordan Peterson instead invites you to go, okay, well, what if you invested 100% into your wild, crazy dream? Like, the reality is that you may not get 100% there, but if you start working towards that mental dream you have, or that ultimate goal, or that wildest fantasy you have in your life, if you put everything into it, like, you may get 50% there, you may get 70% there, you may even get 90% there. You may achieve it, who knows? But without trying, you'll never know. And then on top of that, if you're not trying, you're not even working towards that ultimate lifestyle which you're seeking. So it's so very true. He then goes on to say blueprinting. Oh no, I already spoke about that. Concentration is the root of mental mastery. So you must learn to focus it on a single thing, and that's the secret of happiness, is simplicity. So find out what you love to do and then focus all of your attention on it and make sure that it serves others, and you'll be far more effective and productive. So Robin Sharma has this real belief, which I think is wonderful, that the more you give to others, then the more fulfilled and satisfied you'll be in your life. So really understanding what is my gift, and then not being afraid to own your gift and then share your gift with the world and see that that's your contribution to humanity and to society around. So it's a very altruistic kind of approach to success and cultivating self-discipline in your life, which is great because it gives you that sense of being a part of something bigger than yourself, which is an important aspect of being a human. We need to feel like we belong, we're pack animals, we need to feel purposeful, we need to feel like we've got meaningful contribution to the world around us. They're all basic human needs, and it's sort of a formula for how you can achieve success in obtaining these basic human needs or satisfying them. So the heart of the rose, so the symbol of the rose, so stare at the heart of the rose, think only about the wonderful object in front of you. Return your attention. Soon your mind will become strong and disciplined. So he suggests this kind of the rose as a symbol of meditation and focus in the garden. So in the fable, you're sitting in the most magnificent garden. The garden is filled with flowers. You feel you have all the time in the world to indulge in the beauty in the garden. There's a towering lighthouse. A 9-foot-tall sumo wrestler comes out of a red door, and he has a pink cable protecting his private parts. He finds a shiny gold stopwatch, which someone had left behind years earlier, slips it on and falls to the ground unconscious. He is stirred by the fragrance of beautiful roses. He looks to the left and sees the long winding path covered in diamonds. He is compelled to take the path, and the path leads him to everlasting joy and eternal happiness. So there's the fable. So the key principles is to first concentrate on the root of desire. The fact that you have a desire or a dream means that you have the corresponding capacity to realize it. To liberate the power of the mind, you must be able to harness it and direct its focus on what is at hand. Find out what you love to do and then direct all of your energy to doing it. So it's really about having this kind of self-worth, discipline, and putting 100% investment into yourself. The heart of the rose, so it's your island of peace, and there's power in silence and in peace. Opposition thinking. So he talks about the mind can only hold one thought at any time, and actually I've seen a lot of people in the success space talk about this. So your brain is actually incapable of having conflicting thoughts. You either have to have one thought or the other, and one has to win over the other. We can't have two conflicting beliefs at the same time. And so thinking about what do I want to believe, and then really investing 100% into that belief. And that really comes down to this kind of idea that you can manifest your own life, and that you can create your life through your chosen beliefs. And that's also falls back to kind of weeding your garden. And what about the lighthouse? So the purpose of the life is a life of purpose. Those who are truly enlightened know what they want out of life, emotionally, materially, physically, spiritually. Clearly define priorities and goals, and every aspect of your life will serve a role to that played by a lighthouse, offering you guidance and refuge when the seas become rough. So he talks about basically it being lighting the journey, having goals. So by writing down your goals, you send a red flag to your subconscious mind about what is important and what your life aims are. He puts forward this really great idea of like 5-step method to reach purpose of your life. So form a clear mental image of the outcome. 2, get positive pressure on yourself. How can I create positive pressure? Public pledge, tell everyone you know what you're doing. Associate pleasure with good habits and punishment with bad habits. Step 3, never set a goal without a timeline. You must have a precise time frame. Get to know yourself. Buy a dream book and write out all of your dreams. There's an idea. Divide your dream book into different areas. So he has this kind of holistic perspective of how you should approach life. Physical fitness goals, financial goals, personal empowerment goals, relationships, social goals, spiritual goals, and then fill your dream book with visions or pictures of all these different goals that you have, and with people, images of people who have abilities, talents, and qualities that you hope to emulate, right? And then review it daily. So he argues basically passion comes through repetition. So if you obsess over something every single day and you repeat it daily, you will eventually become passionate. Now, if you're a parent and you've had a child, I think you'll be able to relate to this even on the most primal level. Like initially when we have babies, we're like, oh my God, this is so freaking hard, la la la. But then you're like, you are stuck with this baby and you have to invest in the baby every single day of your life when they're born. And you're just like stuck with it every day. And then you start becoming really obsessed with your baby and you're like, oh my God, this is the best thing in the world. You become passionate about the baby. Everything is about the baby. And it turns out that it's not just about the baby, it's actually anything you choose to consistently focus your attention on day in, day out, you will eventually cultivate a burning passion for it. So it doesn't have to be something that you just grab out of the thin air or you just happen to be born with. It's something that you can cultivate through your choices and your decisions and your actions. Which is cool. So he goes on to talk about, so something that I really want to focus on is the power of discipline. So the sumo wrestler was stark naked except for the pink cable. The cable will serve to remind you of the power of self-control and discipline in building a virtuous, disciplined life. Self-control and willpower are similar to a cable. The cable consists of many thin wires, each alone flimsy and weak, yet together their sum is much greater than their constituent parts, and the cable becomes tougher than iron. To build a will of iron, it is essential to take small, tiny acts. The lack of willpower is a mental disease. It is willpower that allows you to keep your commitments to other people, and more importantly, yourself. Through the steel of discipline, you will forge a character rich with courage and peace through the virtue of will. So he talks about how, like, when we build willpower and self-discipline, what we're doing is we're actually making small little choices every day that build up to strength and fortitude in the mind. So really taking those little steps each day over time creates massive change. Self-control and discipline will bring you a tremendous sense of freedom. This alone is amazing. When you master your mind, you master your life. When you have managed to discard all the weak thoughts and only maintain those that are positive. I am more than I appear to be. All the world's strength and power rests inside me. Repeat this 30 times per day. Wow. There you go. There's a bit of an affirmation for you. I am more than I appear to be. All the world's strength and power rests inside me. your most precious commodity, the shiny gold stopwatch in the fable, is a symbol of our most precious commodity, which is time. And time is the greatest leveler. Time mastery leads to life mastery because it's a non-renewable resource. And it's interesting, Thich Nhat Hanh, who's like a very well-known, now passed away Buddhist monk, prolific Buddhist monk, and he was one of the most prolific authors of Buddhist literature in the world. He always talked about the non-renewable resource of time. It's very limited. You only get one life, and so it's really important that you learn how to manage your time really well so that you're not wasting it away. Plan your week and manage your time carefully and creatively. Have the discipline to focus your time around your priorities. Most meaningful things in your life should never be sacrificed. 80% of the results you achieve in your life come from 20% of your effort. Only 20% of what you will do will impact the quality of your life. Okay? Which is really, I love it. It's just very inspiring. The ultimate purpose of life. When all is said and done, what matters is the quality of your life comes down to the quality of your contribution. Symbol, the fresh yellow roses, Chinese proverb. A little bit of fragrance always clings to the hand that gives you roses. Meaning when you improve the lives of others, you indirectly elevate your own life in the process. When you take care to practice random acts of kindness daily, your own life becomes richer and more meaningful. To cultivate the sacredness and sanctity of each day, serve others in some way. The only one real reason that you're here on earth is to give yourself to others. Measure people by the size of their hearts, and realize what you're here and what your purpose is, because we each have a gift, and unlock your treasure and then apply it to the world for common good. I just love it. It's like the antithesis of depression. It's all about gratitude. Actually, whenever I've actually learned a really wonderful technique for depression in my life is that whenever I feel depressed in my life, if I just sit down and I write a letter to someone who has touched my heart and I have a lot of gratitude for the way that they've shown up in my life. It is amazing how it transforms and uplifts you, and it totally alters the way that you're approaching your day. So that's just one little side tip there. Final element of the fable. A long windy path studded with millions of tiny diamonds. It is there to remind you the virtue of enlightened living. Living in the now. The most important moment is now. Learn to live in it and savor it accordingly. Happiness is a journey and not a destination. Live for the day. There will never be another one quite like it. You can start to have the life you deserve the very moment you start to understand that the path you are currently walking on is one rich with diamonds and other priceless treasures. Enjoy the beauty and sacredness of all that is around you. You owe it to yourself. Never put off happiness for the sake of achievement. Never forget the gift of family. Few things are as meaningful as your children's childhood. Happiness is a journey. Enjoy the special moments that every day offers, because this day is all that you have. When you savor the now, you kindle the fire of life that fuels your destiny. Discover your higher purpose and follow the path of your dreams. Grow your destiny by putting all of your focus and attention on this. Now, that is just a little snippet of what you might come across if you decide to read The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. I highly recommend it. I am on a journey of self-discipline this year, and I'm keen to share that journey with all of you. So thank you for following along on this journey, and I wish you all the best and catch you next week. Over and out. This is Alpha Mama.